All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Basement Podcast. I do want to thank you guys for everybody for joining us here tonight. Definitely want to thank our guest Tommy from the Undercovers Cast. Definitely excited to have him on here to talk some Bills football, both training camp today and especially being the last day. And my other co-host here, Pat. Definitely welcome him back and. Definitely want to get started with it, but first I do want to let you know the Buffalo Basement Podcast is brought to you by Stang Insurance Consulting. Definitely check them out for any of your insurance needs. And with that being said, I'll let Tommy introduce himself, and we'll get going.
Hi, y'all. I'm Tommy from the Undercovers Podcast on Mondays from 7 to 8. But I think we might be moving our show Wednesdays, but currently we're on Mondays. But yeah, I'm on that with Paul. Paul, sorry. I'm on with Paul, Jenna, and Ben on Monday nights.
Well, we definitely want to thank you for joining us here tonight, Tommy. And real quickly, we got like two sleeps left until Bills football. So how you feeling about that?
I'm feeling great. I'm looking forward to these battles going on to see who wins these jobs in the next day or so. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think we finished the last week's podcast with me being super excited about Bills football, and we were about a week away, week and a half away, and now we're a couple days away, and I'm super excited. I can't, like, my emotions are getting the best of me here just waiting on football. It's a long 7-8 month process waiting for football to come back from January. So
I can't wait.
Can't wait.
But how you doing today, Pat? How's your excitement level?
I'm doing good. Time's flying by at work. The days are flying by. Thank goodness. I just can't wait to watch this game, even though it's a preseason game. I can't wait to watch Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Cyrus Torrance. Just having Bills football back.
Watching some of those position battles, I'm super excited for that as well. I mean, like we know Dalton Kincaid's going to be that slot receiver, slot tight end, whatever you want to call him, and we know what he's going to do there. So hopefully we get to see a little bit of that this week. We know Josh Allen and Steph Diggs are out this week for the first preseason. I thought they might play them just because it is Kids Day. It's their only home preseason game this year. But after training camp today, I'd rather those guys just kind of cut it out and just play, or just sit, just let them sit.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that, and as far as that goes, let's dive right in to this. And I know that you guys, I haven't really been on Twitter too much today or seen any news or anything like that. I did see a couple of little tidbits here with Leonard Floyd going down, but he came basically right back on the field. Diggs got hurt real quick, and then but the major one I'll let you guys get into, because I really haven't gotten into too much of it. So if whoever wants to take it from here for training camp today with the last day.
Well, Tommy, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, okay, I'll go for we got a little scare from Diggs today, which that was, I think, what it was, his back, massage his back. Is that my right, Patrick, on that one?
Yeah, he had like a back spasm or something like that.
So like, luckily, like, we avoided, take a breath there. I mean, our number one receiver, we do not want getting hurt, right before the season starts. And then Floyd got was his a leg injury, or I don't remember what he.
Terrell Bernard?
Yeah, no, Floyd. Leonard Floyd.
Floyd, I think, was an ankle.
Okay. Ankle. So and he came back on 11-on-11 drills, right? He came back.
Yep.
I think. And then, like I said, one I'm concerned about is Terrell Bernard. Hopefully, they say it's a tissue issue with his hamstring. So I hope it's only like a 2 to 4 week injury, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, as far as the Terrell Bernard thing, I mean, it's unfortunate because he was in a heated battle for that starting middle linebacker spot, and at this point, it kind of puts Dodson in as your number one middle linebacker right now. Not that he wasn't going to win the job anyways, Having that little bit of slight edge, being the veteran and everything like that. But now it kind of gives, Balin Spector a little chance to kind of come back up and potentially, fight back into that with these preseason games coming in, playing middle linebacker there. I mean, we'll see what happens, see how much he plays, see if he makes any big plays, going into the preseason or after this preseason game. And then, we'll see where that job stands as far as that goes. But Pat, how are your feelings on the injuries and stuff today?
The whole Diggs thing scared everybody. Obviously, everybody at first. I'm just the relief I got by them saying that he was talking with the secondary, with the defense, laughing around, signing autographs after practice. Huge relief.
Yeah,
like you guys hit the nail right on the head with the Terrell Bernard. It's scary. It is. Hopefully
it sucks because it sucks because it just seems like every year injuries happen, and we've talked about it, a lot on this podcast, as far as injuries go. So we need everybody to stay healthy, but I'd rather it happen now than 6 weeks into the season after, Bernard has already won the job and he's been starting middle linebacker and everything like that. Right. Whereas now, if it happens now, okay, he can kind of come back. They're not going to cut Terrell Bernard, third round pick. They're not going to get rid of him. So he has time to kind of come back and learn. And who knows, maybe by 3, 4, 5, week 3, 4, 5, he takes that job back. Or if he can get back in a week or two, he may be able to take the job at that point. We don't know exactly what, how long, because hamstrings are tough because it really, when you're pushing off that leg or anything like that, you're using your entire leg muscle, but when you're going forward, you typically use your hamstring. So, and as a middle linebacker, whether you're going backwards, forwards, side to side, that's when it kind of tweaks you a little bit. At least I know that from playing personally. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, I wish the one thing I will say about the updates on Twitter is I wish that they would stop with the sky is falling type tweets.
Yeah.
Just say Diggs went down.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be like, oh, it was this big whole thing. Like that bothers me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
I'm on that. Like, why do they make it so dramatic that he's always hurt? The season's over. Like, you don't even know what the injury is, and they're already tweeting it out. So it's like, give it some time. Wait till you hear an actual report of what the injury is before overreacting.
My bad, Tommy. Go ahead.
No, that's all I had to say.
Go ahead. Okay. And on top of that, the whole Diggs threw his helmet. He put his face in the ground. He looks in pain. That was the one that scared me.
Yeah, I read that and I was just like, oh no. And then that was at the time that I saw that, it was 25 minutes prior. So, and then I saw the next one where it's, he's just up, back in the huddle or back in the offensive side of things. And I was like, you can't do that to people, like, especially like fans that are relying on these guys for updates. Like, I get it. Like the guy went down, just say, hey, Diggs is down. We'll update when the next update happens.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, we get it. If he got hurt, if he tore an ACL or, ripped apart his leg, broke his leg, something, dislocated shoulder. Yes, he's going to throw his helmet. Yes, he's going to get upset. Yes, he's going to get mad. We know that. So why put those things out there for people to be like,
yeah,
don't do that.
My heart sank.
Service announcement. Just a public service announcement. From now on, let's just keep the tweets saying he is down. We will update as soon as possible.
Yeah,
correct.
Don't
any player.
Yes.
So with that being said, I mean, what else has gone on at training camp today? Do we know anything else other than it being the last day?
I'm trying to think what other things I've heard. I heard
Davis.
He had another good day at practice. I didn't really hear much other than those, scary injuries. Did you hear anything else, Pat, from today?
From today, I heard that Gabe Davis had a good practice.
Oh, okay.
He's been the star of camp. And then I've also heard, who was it? It was, I want to say Trent Sherfield, who had a good rep against Teron Johnson, which is good to see that Trent Sherfield.
I think that was Hardy.
It
Not
was
to
Hardy,
correct you,
yes.
but I think it was Hardy. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, but besides that, that's all. And I heard the offensive line looked good today
That's good. That's good.
against a 4-man rush.
Anything else?
When it started blitzing, it was rough.
Did Torrance have a better day today than yesterday?
Yes, I think so. Yes,
Good.
Torrance had a better day.
So, I do want to touch on Gabe Davis a little bit. You know, for my own personal, you know, I know that I said before on this when the whole DeAndre Hopkins thing was going on or anything like that, we need a wide receiver too.
Right.
Gabe Davis seems like he is stepping up during training camp and becoming that wide receiver too. Just like I had said, you either need a DeAndre Hopkins type receiver, Gabe Davis, or Dalton Kincaid to step up. Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid seem like they're stepping up.
Yep.
So that's even better for the Bills. Like, that's awesome. And I'm happy. And I think with him stepping up the way he has, I think that they need to, I'm almost telling, I'm hoping that I see the tweet come across that he gets extended.
Hashtag extend Gabe.
Because
let's go.
He goes 6-7 weeks into the season and he's already, let's say 30, 40 catches and 5 touchdowns and almost 700 yards already. Let's just say something like that happens.
He's gone. He's going to price himself out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're talking $18 to $20 million.
I think they need to get it done before next week.
I absolutely agree. And I think that, you know, they need to, I would say no more than $15, $16 million. I would not go any higher than that now, because you're going to get him now. 1 year left on his deal, get him signed now. I understand if he doesn't want to sign it, but that's life-changing money for somebody like him who was a 4th-round draft pick.
Right.
And everything like that. So for $15 million, you get him signed, 4-year deal, be done.
Right. I agree.
So as far as Gabe Davis goes, I hope that they get him signed, because I do not want to see another Tremaine Edmonds type situation with the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need somebody that, and I know I'm talking 2-3 years from now, but you're going to need somebody that's going to take over for Diggs. You're going to need to draft somebody good to, you know, be that second wide receiver again. So we're going to be here in like 2-3 years, realistically 3 years.
And Josh has continuity with Davis. I don't think they want to, you know, you break away that relationship. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it was on Twitter today that Josh and Dick, or Josh, it was the Josh and Davis show today.
Yeah. Don't break it up. Like, for real, just extend them and we move on. You know what I'm saying?
And I hope that Davis realizes $15 million a year is life-changing money, rather than waiting to get an extra $5 million, because you're going to be in a place for the next 3-4 years that is going to contend every single year.
Correct.
As long, like, I don't care what anybody says about windows or anything like that. As long as this team, just like the Bengals, just like the Chiefs, as long as this team has Josh Allen healthy, the window is open.
Right.
For the next 15 years, if he's here 15 years, that window is open, and they have to take advantage of it as much as they possibly can, keeping guys on lower, I don't want to say lower contracts, but try and work to team-friendly deals on contracts. And if you get Gabe done now, $15 million is looking more team-friendly than at the end of the year when you lose him or have to sign him for $20, $22, $25 million.
Correct.
So,
I mean, we've seen another report from our friend ECB saying, like, you know, extensions are coming to players. You know, he didn't say any names, but he said extensions are coming. So I Gabe is on that list.
I'm hoping so. Like, you know, knock on wood, you know, it gets done, and hopefully it does. But I ranted a little bit. I know, Pat, you're a big fan of Gabe Davis, so I'll let you, you know, speak a little bit on that. So
I'm the self-proclaimed biggest Gabe fan in Bills Mafia, self-proclaimed, of course.
All right.
I really felt like last year his high ankle sprain lingered all year, which he said it did in the Second Win podcast he was on the other day. And you guys see it for yourself. He's one of the most hardworking people in the offseason.
Yep.
I believe he put in the work in we need to extend him ASAP because he is going to put up numbers this year, especially if he stays healthy.
Yep.
Being on the opposite side of his game as Stephon Diggs, and with a better O-line, and now having Kincaid and Knox, where Knox might not help Spencer Brown block as much, it's just going to open up the floodgates for Gabe. What he averaged last year per catch was like 17 yards.
Something crazy high. Yeah. He was pretty high. He was one of the higher players in the league. I mean, as far as per catch goes. I mean, you look at the Steelers game. Look at he had 170 yards on 3 catches.
Right.
Like and 2 touchdowns. So
not bad for a 4th-round pick, huh?
No.
Especially what he's done in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's a really good number 2.
The only game he really got criticized was that last play against the Jets when, technically it looked like Sauce Gardner was all over him. So it's like I don't blame him for not making that catch. I mean that was a long throw
it was
a moment like that. And it's just I get people say he should have caught it, but in a way I feel like Sauce Gardner was all over him, so he really couldn't, adjust to the catch.
No, and I agree with you to a point. I agree with you to a point, but he had the ball. It was here. It was in between his arms, and he should have been able to clamp down on it and catch the ball. That's neither here nor there. That's last season.
Right.
We have 2 days left. We have 2 days until the 2023 Bills season. So, with that being said, as far as Gabe Davis goes, anything that he did last year, we're going to chalk it up to the ankle injury. We're going to chalk it up to mentality.
Yep.
And hopefully he continues to grow as a receiver and becomes that true number 2 receiver that the Bills desperately need.
I hope so.
The other thing I will say, though, too, is one of the reasons why I think that he did not do as well as he did, or as well as he did the year before, was because they lost the Cole Beasley type receiver, that check down receiver that Josh had, where it was like, oh, I have this, and then when you had guys, trying to take away Cole Beasley, then that gave opportunities to Gabe Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like in the Kansas City game back when he had the 4 touchdown game.
Yep.
They could not cover Gabe Davis because they had Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley.
Yeah. So they had his ability to go through that as well. So with that being said, I mean, I'm just really, really excited to see what's going to happen here. So,
and on top of
lost
that,
you for a second, Tommy.
There you are, Tommy. And to your point, Matt,
I'm having issues, guys. I can't hear anything.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear y'all. Hang on a second.
Technical difficulties.
I'm going to leave and come back. Hang on 1 second.
Matt, to your point to your point about having the slot receiver, to having Cole Beasley in that playoff game, now we have Kincaid.
Yep.
We have Sherfield, Hardy. So we should see some. Obviously, we won't see 201 yards every game. That's just not happening. But we could see easily 70 to 100 yards per game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, that's what they need. They need to have somebody opposite Diggs, because talking with Diggs, you're having him get.
Sorry, I'm back.
Your 140 targets, and he had 105, 108 catches last year.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have that second guy that's gonna do almost the same thing. Gabe Davis had 90 something targets last year, and he only caught 54 of them or 56. I'd have to look up and get exact.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had 836 yards, 48 receptions, 93 targets.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if he was able to add 10 more catches, how many more yards is that going to be for the Bills?
Well, just going by his average per reception, which was 17.4, 10 more catches, you add 170 more yards, which would give you 1,100? No, 1,000?
Close to 1,000, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it
correct.
would be like 1,006. Just doing quick math.
But I mean, absolutely. So I mean, what did he average per catch last year?
17.4. And he had 7 touchdowns.
Okay. And so basically, yeah, I mean, you do that quick math, 10, let's say he has 10 more catches on 93 targets. It's another 170 yards.
Yep.
I mean, it just basic quick math. And that, I'm sorry, having your number one receiver having 105, 108 catches and your number two receiver having 60 catches. And then having Kincaid, and that's not adding any targets to Gabe Davis.
Right.
That's him just catching 10 more balls.
Yeah.
I mean, closing his hands on those balls are where the mentality part of it gets set. He even said he got to him because he was worried about going up on and coming down weird on the leg or anything like that and re-injury. Now he looks awesome. 100% mentally and physically. He looks awesome. I know I was there for the red and blue scrimmage last week. He looked awesome in practice.
Yeah.
He was one of the bright spots of practice. Yes, he did have a drop, but he was still one of the bright spots of practice.
Y'all want to hear hot?
What's that?
What's the hot take, Tommy?
Y'all want to hear hot take I have? Gabe Davis outgaining and out getting touchdowns. He'll be the leading target, touchdown and yards on the team over
You heard
Diggs.
it here first from Tommy.
Oh, that is definitely a spicy take for you, Tommy. That is definitely a spicy take. So.
I'm gonna honor my take. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah,
for
no,
it.
you're good. You're good. But that's actually not a bad take. I mean, it's definitely a hot, spicy take.
Yeah, hot, spicy take.
But if they're using Diggs as more of not your deep receiver, whereas Gabe Davis has proved to be the deep receiver. And then if he adds on a couple of, shorter routes onto that, I could see him being over 1,000 yards for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he would overtake Diggs as far as yards. Touchdowns, he is, yes, I would definitely say he may go over touchdowns than Diggs, if not be the same. Even Diggs said he's going to have a breakout year.
Yeah.
Like
I think Kincaid's going to help that issue though for Davis.
I think it's going to help. I think it's going to help the whole team.
Yeah,
or the whole offense.
Yeah, I agree. But it'll more help Gabe, I think, than anybody in our offense. I think it will open things up for him more. Just my hot take, but
yeah, no, you're good because I mean that's the one thing we were saying before you cut out of here.
Yeah.
As far as that Cole Beasley type role is, that was one of the reasons why I felt Gabe did as well as he did, and he was slotted perfectly as that wide receiver 3 at the time because Beasley was Josh's favorite target other than Diggs.
Right.
And he would always be in the right position. He would always be open for him. He knew how to get under coverage and, basically make himself available.
Right.
It seems like Dalton Kincaid is doing the same thing in training camp and practice in the red and blue scrimmage the other night. I can't wait to see what he does on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good leeway into what we're expecting from Saturday night to kind of, start to go into like matchups and things we want to see and everything like that. So I'll let you guys kind of start from here what you guys are looking to see.
Oh, Tommy, you're our guest. I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to keep my eye on. I know, like I was looking at the linebacker, but now with Bernard injured, you could focus more on Dotson now, maybe winning that job. But I'll be looking at cornerback too. I want to see how Benford plays. I mean, I've been hearing like he's been having an outstanding camp, like getting interception after interception, like getting like just being around the ball, like being a ball hawk. So like I'm going to be looking at how he manages, the Colts the Colts receivers, like who he's on, like what like how he's gonna do, and I think he has a legit shot to overtake that number 2 cornerback spot. The way the Bills love him, from what I hear in camp, and I'm looking forward. I hope he can make the number 2 case.
You're saying Benford?
Yeah, I'm liking Benford.
And it'll be interesting too. Not just to touch on that point, it'll be interesting too to see, especially with Anthony Richardson playing this week, where their coach has already said he's going to be starting.
Right.
What receivers and what players they're going to have starting with him, and how long those guys are going to be starting.
Right.
So that in turn, if you have Benford and Elam out there, to see more of a, hopefully it'll be more of a competition for them, because they're going to be going up against the Colts number ones, for however long. So it's going to be a nice test for them, as far as that goes. So what else?
Trey White sits out. I mean, do you think they play Benford and Elam most of probably the first couple series, and then they take them out?
I think
sits. I mean, they might do that.
Go ahead, Pat.
No, I said to Tommy's question about Tre'Davious White. Yeah. I think Trey White might play 2 series, but that's it. They're not going to risk somebody who's still working his way back from the ACL.
Yeah, I could see them playing him for a series or two just to kind of get, not that he's not, acclimated to football, but I could see them getting him back acclimated to, and we know he played last year, but he's had now another 7 months in between. Yes, you had mini camps and OTAs and things like that, and then you just had, training camp. But this is the first time since the Bengals game that he's been like fully healthy. And I keep referring to it, but like even Von Miller said, it takes the ACL injury 2 years to fully heal. So you're mentally there, you're physically there, and everything like that. So he said it takes you about 2 years to get there. Right. Whether you can actually damage it, he said Von Miller said for him, it's about 7-8 months for him. So he's, a freak athlete. So we're, we're not going to talk about that.
From a source, there's reports that he has a hip flexor right now. So
yeah.
I'm not going to say the source out loud because we're live, but it's just from a source.
But absolutely, and that's the thing. Like, he's been pushing himself to get back, and hopefully he does enough. I don't expect him back week 1. Like, let me throw that out there right now. I don't expect him back week 1. Could he be ready if, let's say, this was the playoffs and this was, I think he would be out there. This is week 1. We need him for the playoffs. Sit down. Like, we know you want to get back and play football, but just sit down, coach, GM, whatever you want to do right now. Take advantage of the time off and just enjoy. Keep working and whatever. But
that's why I think they signed Floyd, because I think they knew like we can give Vaughn the time he needs. Just go, get another veteran pass rusher and you're set for until he comes back.
Right.
That's why that was insurance for the Bills.
Right.
To that signing.
Yeah. As much as Brandon Beane said it wasn't, I truly believe it was. I absolutely. I think it was. I mean, you're bringing in somebody like Leonard Floyd that was, Von Miller's opposite in LA, and like they can play him more than they were playing Von Miller, because what is Floyd? 29 years old, 30 years old.
30, I believe.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, 30. Yeah, you got it right, Pat.
But you can play him more than a 34-year-old.
Yeah.
You're not trying to save him for. Let me kind of rephrase that. You're trying to keep everybody healthy throughout the season and keep them, but you're saving Von Miller for the times that you need him. That Super Bowl run that, had he been in that Bengals game, who knows what the difference would have been if he would have made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the times that you need him. They brought him in to be the closer.
Yeah.
Not to play until week 11 and get hurt.
And that crushed us. Like that Thanksgiving game when he got hurt, it just crushed the end of the year for us. Like we had no pass rush.
Yeah, I mean the pass rush was basically non-existent at that point.
Non-existent, and that's like you got it right on the right on the head there. Like we need them for the end of the season. That's where you need your star pass rusher.
Absolutely.
Game. So like I'm all for resting them till whenever like I say rest them till the Bengals game.
Yeah, week 8. Week 8. Yeah.
Just get them back at week 8 and we're good.
Go ahead, Pat.
For example, I think our defensive line pass rush win rate was like top 5 in the league
when he was on the field, right?
Yeah.
Right. But then when he went off the field, we were almost last. Or we were like middle, like 15, 16, somewhere
It
around
was
there.
it was low. It was low. It was not good.
Yep.
All we had
It was not good.
It wasn't good. You're right. You're right, Matt. It wasn't good at all.
I mean, the only time that you really saw anybody like do anything is if they were playing not a bad team, but like a bad tackle, or I don't want to say get lucky, but like AJ Epinesa had what, 6.5 sacks last year?
Yep.
Like that's because of playing time. That's because of the amount of playing time he was able to get. So obviously 6 play, let's call it 7 plays, he's able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Before the quarterback threw the ball.
And Groot was playing with that ankle too, so maybe that ankle was bugging him the rest, that rest of the end of that year too. That's why he was so effective. So if you could just keep these guys healthy, our pass rush should be okay without Vaughn for like the first 8 weeks.
Oh, I would absolutely agree with you, and because you have Leonard Floyd, you have Greg Rousseau, you have Shaq Lawson, you have if Shane Ray makes the team, then you have him too. You have immense pass rushers right now.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be tough to see who they cut.
Right.
When the cut down to 53 happens.
Yeah, when Vaughn comes back, they'll have to cut one. I would bet they would.
Oh, I'm sure that they would find a way to cut, figure out who to cut, but and then they might get moved to like the practice squad or something like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if that player, let's just for devil's advocate say Shane Ray makes the team because they put Von Miller on the PUP list.
Okay.
Von Miller doesn't come back till week 8, but Shane Ray has been playing with, on the other side, Leonard Floyd, AJ Epinesa, and whoever else. And he has 6-7 sacks.
Yep.
Why would another team pick him up? You know what I mean? Like that's the tough part. So what do you do at that point? Do you go out and try and find a trade partner for Boogie Basham or something of that nature? Or do you cut from a different position group to add Von Miller back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what position group do you cut? Because offensive line depth is important.
Yeah.
We only have so many receivers on our roster that we like to keep.
And I'm not saying Shane Ray is going to go out and get 6-7 sacks in the first 8 weeks. I'm
right.
Please don't take it that way. I'm just saying like that basically gives Brandon Beane like a migraine basically because he's got to figure out.
They would trim down was maybe a cornerback, because we have a lot of cornerback depth. Maybe a corner, but other than that, I think it's between a corner and a D end.
Yeah. Oh, I would absolutely agree. And I'm excited to see what happens as far as how they contain. Like, I know they're not going to game plan for. I mean, I know they're like game planning for the preseason, but they don't like put in a full game plan.
Right.
It's very tough to kind of describe how they do that.
Did you hear press conference? I think it was yesterday or the day before. He was like, "We're not focusing on the Colts. We're focusing on ourselves."
Yeah.
So that's that point where they're focusing on where they need to get better and what positions that are up for grabs for who to take. That's where I got.
Which is basically the way I was trying to explain it. Is they're not game planning for the Colts, but they're game planning for themselves to go out there and make plays basically.
Correct.
But I'm excited to see the defensive ends go against their tackles and their if Ed Oliver plays or Jordan Phillips plays, or because I know he's back, but I don't know if they're going to have him play, how much he's going to play. I'm excited to see Puna Ford. I'm excited to see that entire defensive line just go, get the quarterback and go. Like I understand they have Anthony Richardson, but what I was trying to say before is I want to see how they play him, not necessarily game plan for him, but how they play him, because he is a running quarterback. He's got Josh Allen's arm, he's got a heck of an arm. Like the kid has a heck of an arm. He's probably poised to be the top quarterback out of this draft class.
Yep.
Not named Bryce Young.
I agree.
If Bryce Young can stay healthy because of his size.
Right.
Look, he's pretty accurate with the deep ball too, as we saw in this combine. Obviously, it's the combine, but even looking at his college highlights, he's pretty accurate with the deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking somebody who's 6'5", 245 pounds, 250 pounds. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
like, yeah, it's basically a Josh Allen clone, is what he is, but
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
So, because the defense knows how to play against Josh Allen from being in practice, I'm almost wondering if it's going to give them kind of like I don't want to call it like a false sense of hope with
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson, but I would like to see them take him not out of the game or anything, but I'd like to see them take him out. Like,
Yeah.
go get the quarterback, and everybody converge on the quarterback. Just
Right.
So with that being said, what else are you guys looking forward to for Saturday night?
I'm looking forward to seeing our wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Justin Shorter. When we drafted him, some people call him a DK baby DK Metcalf.
Hey, Metcalf. Yeah, I've heard that
His
too.
size, he's fast, he's built. I want to see him. I want to see Khalil Shakir. See if he's learned the playbook more. How does he look? Those
Mm-hmm.
are the two I really looking forward to seeing.
The one thing I will say about from the red and blue scrimmage that I did like is, my wife and I were sitting, down in the 100 level, down about 4 rows off, and out of the corner of my eye saw number 18 just getting ball, footballs ready, and them pull over he was on the jugs machine for a half an hour before practice,
Really?
doing just drills with
Okay.
trying to catch the ball, different things, where he'd turn around and, come right back to the ball, or, he would catch it here, or he'd go to the left, come to the right, catch it. There was a lot of stuff he was doing. And as a rookie to be doing those things, that is awesome.
That's great.
And, if I didn't get to see enough of him on the red and blue scrimmage, so I'm excited to see him as well, to see what he can do in the field of play. But he is a 5th-round pick. Let's just put it that way. But Gabe Davis was also a 4th-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So did he? And the nice thing about Shorter, he was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school.
And Jalen Waddle was in that draft class, or was in that class too, I believe, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I think wasn't it Jamar Chase?
I think it was Chase. I think you're right.
Was it Chase or Higgins?
I think it was Chase. I think it was Chase.
Yeah, I think it was Chase.
But even still, like, Justin Shorter was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school at that point. He went to a crappy program in Florida. Sorry, any Gators fans out there. Sorry, Elam or anything, anything like that. But they didn't have really that great of football program when he went there.
Mm-hmm.
He was hurt, and he played well. He played well in college. He was able to get drafted to the NFL.
Yep.
I want to see how well he transitions to the NFL. Like, I want to see if his number 1 recruiting status out of high school is going to help him, because in the NFL as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's my whole thing on it, and I hope I hope they have a diamond in the rough in Shorter.
I hope so too.
Because that would give you 3 great wide receivers in Diggs, Davis, and Shorter.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
let's rock. If it pans out, let's rock with those 3.
Oh yeah, and then you have Knox and Kincaid.
I mean, yeah, you can't ask for anything more.
James Cook in the backfield.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what do we think about James Cook? I think he's gonna have a breakout year, y'all. What do y'all think about James Cook?
Over 800 rushing yards, Tommy.
I got him at 950.
I like
I
it.
hope
1,000.
Close to 1,000. I'm gonna go 950 to 1,000. Let's go.
I hope they sit him this preseason at least for the first game or 2.
Yep.
Because we saw what happened with Damian Harris. He went down as his day-to-day knee injury.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what do you do with that? Like, do you guys know if it was the same knee that he had injured last year?
I think it was. I think it was his right knee.
Okay.
I'm trying to go back and trying to think of the tweets that I saw.
But even still, if it was the same knee, then is that going to be a lingering issue the rest of the year?
Right.
So do you keep, because I like Latavius Murray. He looked
I've heard he's
awesome.
great camp.
Yeah.
They said he's looking like a 25-year-old from
Yeah.
Sal Capaccio. Like from what I heard today on WGR, he said he's balling out. Like he looks like a 25-year-old compared to a 34-year-old.
Well, he's probably happy that he's on a Super Bowl contender for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
And he can go get a ring, and then maybe he can go right into the sunset.
Yeah.
But I mean that helps bring, he's from from Syracuse.
Yeah.
Bring a championship to Buffalo. I mean that would be.
He's going to be motivated to make this roster. I like if they play him, I think he's going to do whatever he can to get his name on this roster.
Yeah, I mean Damian Harris, I would love to see him stay healthy for the whole year. I really would. I want to see how he does, Saturday night if they play him.
1-2 with Cook and Harris. I mean, it's a good 1-2 punch.
It is.
Murray
then you can add Murray in there on those where Josh Allen type goal line where it was him before. Now you throw Murray in there and because we talked about it the last week, 6'3", 220. That's a big back. That's a big dude.
Oh yeah, he's basically a linebacker.
Yeah. Nobody wants to tackle that guy, right?
Nobody.
And he's fast.
Fast. Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
From that stuff I'm hearing from Cam, I'm excited for him. Another guy I'm excited for. And like I said, and Saturday I'm looking at right guard position. I'm hoping Torrance can lock it down.
I hope so too. I mean, I know that we had AJ on last week, and he was saying that Bates does hold a little bit of an edge over Torrance.
Okay.
When we had Dan Mitchell on, I felt that Bates was going to win the job at first, and then potentially by like week 4 or 5 or 6, Torrance would have slide in there and play that, and Bates would take a step back so that they can have positional flexibility on the offensive line if something were to happen, because he plays all 3 of the the interior spots.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's. I don't like to relate it to like basketball or anything, but I think he's a very good 6th man. if you want to call it that.
That's a good way of putting it, Matt.
Yeah, that is a very good way of putting it.
Very good way to put that.
Because he can come off the bench and play center. He can play either guard spot. I know he's played tackle before. He can play those positions. I'm sure they don't want him to because he hasn't done it in a long time. But that having that positional flexibility that McDermott and Bean have built for the Bills is just awesome. And I'm excited to see how the offensive line is. I want to see Spencer Brown take that next step.
Yes.
On the offensive line. I'm hoping that I don't know if they're going to play all the ones on the offensive line just to kind of get the continuity going.
Yep.
Because you're basically replacing your left guard on that side, with Deion Dawkins. And so with them having Saffold last year, one of the biggest things that I felt is watching all the tape from last year is that it comes down to a trust thing.
Yeah.
So if Deion Dawkins isn't going to trust that Saffold is going to cover somebody, you see things happen like you did last year in the Bengals game where Saffold's just standing around looking to block a guy and his guy's already on Josh Allen.
Yeah, and it's
open door.
Yeah.
So at some point in there's trust built up, and I hope that the ones play at least a couple series of obviously we don't need Diggs and Allen to play. We know they're out. But for Saturday's game, but I hope that they sit James Cook the first game. I think that Davis might play a couple series just to kind of get him going with the backup, all the stuff from last year. I'm sure he wants to get in there and play a series or 2 just to kind of get reacclimated to everything. But as far as that goes, I hope they play the ones on the offensive line because. Let's build that trust. Let's build that continuity. Hey, let's work on our checks. Let's work on our calls from the line. Let's do all that stuff that we have to do, because it preseason, unfortunately, at this point isn't like what it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
It's glorified training camp. It's a glorified scrimmage.
Yep.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, you're getting, from a podcast or a coaches or anything, you're getting that standpoint where you're seeing who's better on game day, who's better here. Let's see what they can do compared to like the average fan who's watching preseason to see touchdowns.
Yep.
And whereas I'm excited to watch those things to see, how well Deion Dawkins is blocking with McGovern next to him, and seeing how that they can control your end and your defensive tackle there. Along with Mitch Morrison, if he ends up playing, and I want to see how Spencer Brown, basically, covers both sides of himself. How is he going to do with Bates on the inside there next to him? Are they going to keep him in there when Torrance goes in? Because obviously Torrance is going to get reps, so they're going to keep Spencer Brown in there with him to see if they can build that continuity for the right side.
Correct.
So, because if you get enough continuity and you get enough trust throughout the offensive line, and Josh can stand back there for days and just pick apart defenses, or or he sees running lanes or anything, whatever he sees, let the best player on your team be himself and go play.
Agreed.
That's what I think Brandon Beane did in the offseason to help Josh Allen, rather than getting Dalton Kincaid aside, Deontay Hardy aside. The best thing that he did for them is not adding weapons, it's protecting him.
Yeah.
Because if he can take those, 3, 5, 7 step drops and just stand there and figure out what he's doing. Sometimes time isn't the best thing for Josh, but because he overthinks things sometimes, we've all seen that. We've seen the mistakes come from him from that, which isn't a knock on him or anything like that, because he's still a top 2 quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
I hope that is one of the things that we see, is that protection back there for Kyle Allen, because you're putting Josh in there with that same offensive line. So if they're blocking that well for, say, Kyle Allen, Josh is going to be able to be put right in there and create.
Yeah, it'll flow. Yep.
So
go
ahead.
I got a question for y'all. Are y'all concerned about quarterback 2? Is there a concern there? Because I've been hearing some takes from different fans saying they are terrified of the quarterback.
I will say this from the red and blue scrimmage. Kyle Allen has an arm on him.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's quite Josh Allen level, but he can still zip the ball in there where he needs to put it.
Okay.
But I really wish that they would have went and spent $10 million on a backup quarterback.
Right.
But I wish they would have found somebody that might be able to come in and isn't somebody who's been, what did we say when Dan was on, Pat? He hadn't had a start since 2021 or something like that.
2021, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish we would have brought somebody in like a Teddy Bridgewater, or somebody like that.
Carson Wentz.
That's what I was
touch him.
Oh, you wouldn't want Carson?
I'd rather have Nick Foles, to be honest with you.
No, I was gonna say that, say he lays a big egg and he's terrible on Saturday, Kyle Allen. I mean, I was gonna ask you, Matt, if you would consider just giving him a workout, Carson. Just giving him a workout. See,
hey, I mean, even I'm in the same like mind as Beane and McDermott. Like, always look for better competition.
Right.
If he goes out and lays an egg, and I can bring in Carson Wentz or Nick Foles or Teddy Bridgewater to improve my backup quarterback, great.
Okay.
But on some of these levels too, I mean, we also have to realize that him and Josh are really good friends.
Yeah.
And that might have been a Josh request.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying I have sources. I have none. I don't know. Like I have no idea. So please don't take it that way. But
no, I understand it totally. It's Josh's friend, then that's how it goes, I guess. So.
It just seems like. Go ahead, Pat.
I was saying that's why Tanner Gentry was on the team. It had to be for Josh's request.
Yeah, because I mean, he wasn't like a starter. He was on the practice squad. Like it wasn't like a but he probably said he has chemistry and likes how he runs routes and things like that. And they probably got a little input from Josh, I'm sure. And that was one of the bigger rumors when they signed Kyle Allen is that they were super good friends. They play golf together, they train together, whatever else. So
I would say that about John Brown and Cole Beasley last year. I think those were Josh requests as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure he saw the writing on the wall that he needed weapons, and they went in and, was like, hey, I need some help. I can't just rely on Steph and Gabe.
Gabe the whole Gabe wasn't even 100%, so it's like you couldn't just rely on David or Diggs all the time because he was getting doubled. So
yeah, I'm excited to put last year behind us.
Yeah. Yep.
And after Saturday, not talk about last year at all, because
Agreed.
there was so many things that happened. There were so many things that happened last year between the top shooting, between DeMar Hamlin, between Von Miller getting hurt, between Trey White, that whole weird situation where he was ready but he wasn't ready.
Dawson Knox's brother.
Yeah, everything.
Everything. There was much on the plate. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Let's just
the two snowstorms.
We're going in with a clean slate here. We're gonna do what we can do. Hopefully get to the number one goal in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, and I know a lot of people, were talking bad about Josh about what he said on with Kay Adams, that that there's a lot of mixed messages going on. McDermott putting up the Lombardi up, in the field house, and then Josh saying, "Oh, our goal is only playoffs." And my whole take from that is Josh wants to win here so bad, but it's just like his music that he listens to. If he gets himself too pumped up, he's going to come out and, misfire on everything. Whereas if he keeps those weekly goals going, and then, hey, let's get to the playoffs and see what happens. Let's continue to run through this here week by week by week. Let's stack wins together. Let's worry about 1 week goals, not, hey, let's go be Super Bowl champions in week one.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've seen teams go 0-1 and then win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah. We have the Bengals that the year before they weren't like 0-3 or 0-4, and then they went to the Super Bowl like 2 years ago.
I'd have to look up to see what it was. I know
1-4.
It was a 1-4.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but I mean, still, I mean, look at throughout. You can go back and look throughout history. I'm sure you've seen teams in the first couple of weeks, miss or make a couple missteps. Like that's one of the things with the Jets for the first week is I'm expecting to see a lot of missteps because it's Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Jets. Offense isn't going to be. Defense is still going to be dominant. Like I don't care what team you put out there, their defense is dominant.
Right. Definitely.
I mean, you could literally take stars from every team and put them out there, and they have one of the better defense in the NFL. They're still going to make stops at some point. I still see the Bills winning by at least 7 to 10 points personally, but that's for a couple week decision from now, or a discussion from now. But as far as playing the Colts on Saturday, how do you guys feel the game's going to go?
I think we're going to win. Not biased, just we're typically good in the preseason. We are. I think we went 3-0 last year. No, we went 2-1 last year in the preseason.
Yeah.
And the year before that, we went 3-0.
Yeah, because who did we beat last year? We beat the Colts and the Broncos last year, right? And then
we lost to Carolina.
Right. And then I know that they had to come back with against the Colts last year. So
yeah,
I do see the Bills actually losing on Saturday.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because they're trying to get their starting quarterback up and running. They're trying to, and they're going to have a lot of their ones playing on offense. They're going to
Yeah.
most likely have a lot of the ones playing on defense because it's a new system, everything like that. They got new coach. So I can see them winning that game. And it's not a knock on the Bills or anything like that, because I think the most important thing for the Bills is to go out and get better and work on the competition, and each of the players working on getting themselves better within the defense or within the offense.
Right.
I do see a lot of good things happening for the Bills as far as plays go. Like I can see Deontay Hardy maybe taking one the distance, like maybe a 60-yard, maybe not a bomb, but like a 10-yard slant. I could see him taking the distance, something like that, where maybe a broken coverage or something like that, and he just uses his speed to go. But I truly think that they're gonna end up losing the first preseason game, which is fine for me.
Yeah, it's just preseason. I think it's gonna come down maybe to the last possession. I think with this game, like I think we're gonna be able to move the ball early on them, maybe like with the second team, and then maybe a mix of starters on the first. I think we'll be able to like run the ball. If they play James Cook, I think he's gonna bust a couple runs. If Damian Harris is out, like I think it'll be James Cook's game, and like I said, it might come down to like to the last possession, but we either could win or lose by like a touchdown or a field goal, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'm just looking forward to football being back.
Yeah,
cheering
absolutely.
On the guys. It's all about the guys from here on out. Just cheering on them.
Go ahead, Pat.
Let's go.
I agree, Tommy. Excuse me. And don't forget, we're going to see a familiar face. The face of the franchise, Isaiah McKenzie.
Oh, yeah.
Little Dirty back to Buffalo.
He gets for the Colts, right?
Yeah.
You put Elam on him, it's fine. It's a wrap.
I'm looking forward to see what's the Moss, but he's got a broken hand, so
that's right.
Yeah.
And Nyheim Hines can't even play against his former team, which sucks too. So it's all iron.
He did just have successful ACL surgery from what we've seen on Twitter. So he's got till next year, so he's got about a year to come back and be his successful Nyheim Hines self and try and make the team. But who knows what happens with him? But last and final thing here for you guys: who is going to be your standout player for this week?
AJ Epinesa.
AJ Epinesa, okay.
Yes, I think we saw last year 6.5 sacks. He's starting to break out. Obviously, he didn't play earlier in the year because we did have Vaughn and Greg. And now we get to see, and people have been saying he's been looking good in training camp. He's looked good. He's gotten past Spencer Brown a few times. And I believe they said he's got past Deion Dawkins a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, they said he's looked pretty good. And this is a contract year for AJ Epinesa, too.
Yeah.
So maybe he just wants to get out of the gates rolling.
Yep.
And see where it can go from there. Rush the rookie quarterback.
I could definitely see that, too.
The guy I'm going to pick, I brought him up earlier. I'm going to stick with the guy I loved in camp so far. I'm going with Benford. I think he's going to ball out this weekend, and hopefully he gets it would be nice if he got a pick six. Wouldn't that be great?
It would be. It would definitely be.
Got the ability to do it.
I've went back and forth on mine. It's a receiver for sure, but I went back and forth on mine. I was between Shavers, Patman, and Shorter. I'm going to stick with Shorter, just because I think that he's going to be. I think he's going to be out to prove something. It's only preseason, but I think he wants to keep that, fifth wide receiver job, and stay on the team more than anything else. And I think that being a draft pick kind of gives him a leg up, but I think he does need to have a really good rest of the preseason to make the team. Not necessarily make the team, but make the team.
Right.
Because they'd probably try and, if he wasn't making the team, I could see them trying to slip him through to the practice squad. But that's mine. And last thing here, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
I've asked every guest so far. What is your prediction for the Bills' record this year?
Okay, I got us going I got us winning. So 12. What's 12? Was 12-6? Is it
12-5?
12-5.
12-5. I think 12-5 is a fair.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who's picked has been between our 15-2 and 12-5.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we've said 15-2 if everybody stays healthy and everything goes right for the Bills. I could see them at 15-2, but low, like the floor would be 12-5.
Yeah, I think 12-5 is fair.
So
just one year.
Before the Pat and I are going to give our record predictions, probably the show before the Monday Night Football game.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, cool.
But with that being said, Tommy, thank you to you coming on tonight, taking some time out of your day, and definitely check out the Undercovers cast Monday nights at 7. If they move to Wednesdays, definitely check them out either way. And we want to say thank you to you. Again, the Buffalo Basement Podcast has been brought to you by the Stang Insurance Consulting Agency, so definitely check them out for any insurance needs. And with that being said, we want to thank you for joining in. Pat, anything final?
Thank you, Tommy. Yes. And you want to give us a little sneak peek on what your next show is about?
Oh yeah, we're doing a draft coverage show, so we're going to be talking draft on next Monday.
Fantasy draft, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Draft, yep.
Perfect. So definitely check that out Monday. They may have a special guest, may not, but I've heard from sources that they're going to have a special guest. So definitely check that out on Monday night at 7. And for any of your Bills coverage, keep checking us out on the Undercovers Network between myself and Pat here on the Buffalo Basement, and their show on Monday night. So definitely thank you guys all for joining us tonight, and have a good night. Go Bills.
Go Bills.